Good morning and welcome to the morning show with Angel and Tina and all these fabulous guests that we have in our virtual studio with us today. Did want to let you guys know that Tina is having some technical issues. Her computer decided it was time to run an update right now, right before we went live. So the poor girl is she's frantically, trying to charge up her iPad. She may be able to join us. She may not. So we'll just wish her good technology juju this morning. But we have a whole panel of our Connect Summit speaker team here on board with us this morning. This year, our Connect Summits are actually starting up next week. And each month, we're going to have a whole series that is dedicated to helping you to just connect with your business and take you from beginning to end throughout the entire year. And in our very first event of the year, February 24th, is our Systems and Financial Summit. So anything to help you get your systems set up, your finances, so that you can run a rock star business through the air. And these folks that are on with me here today are our experts. They're also part of the Full Year Connect speaker team. So I just want to say good morning to all of you. Good morning, lovely folks. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. All right, well, let's kind of just run round robin. We'll introduce each of you, and then we'll have some really fun conversation. Miss Melanie McSally, I'm going to start with you. Say hello and give a little just brief bio.
Sure. My name is Melanie McSally. Thank you, Angel, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. My title, I guess you could say, is Profit Optimization and Technology Expert, but Angel gave me the lovely title of The Fixer. I specialize in helping you automate your business to elevate your bank accounts. And what we like to do is really take all of those processes and systems that you have in your business that are costing you lots of time and money, that are very manual in nature, and automate them so you can spend more time doing the things you love.
I love it. Well, welcome. And Mr. Albert, say hello.
Hey, everybody. My name is Albert Corey, but as you can see, as I'm pointing to the top here, the world knows me as a tax man. Been doing it almost 4 decades, and I ran a report that I already gave out like $4 million in refunds and savings.
Wow.
Yes, and we are a live tax office. If you hear noises, phones, people asking me questions, I don't have my studio built yet, but so you're going to hear background. And we have clients all over the country, and we have clients in 47 states and 7 countries. So if you need it done, just hit me up on Messenger and we can get it done no matter where you are in the world.
And that's a pretty significant number there, Albert. That's pretty impressive. Shena Marie, hello, good morning.
Good morning, Angel. Thanks so much for having me. I am Shena Marie, a profit strategist and financial business coach. So basically, I help businesses take the sales that they're already making and make them go further, because sales is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is king.
Ooh, look at her doing some mic drop stuff this morning. She's ready for media for sure. Dr. Wendy, hello, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Angel, thank you for having me. I'm Dr. Wendy Labat, also known as the Financial Healer, and I help people identify and overcome the 6 obstacles to winning the money game, diagnose their financial health, take control over their finances, acquire the proper protection to prevent financial ruin, build a financial legacy, create generational wealth, and enjoy financial freedom to live the life that they desire.
Fabulous. You guys are such rock stars. You guys are such absolute rock stars. Aundrea, good morning.
Good morning, Angel. Thanks for having me on. And it's so much fun to spend time with this amazing group of speakers. My name is Aundrea DeLeon, and I am known at the Making the Complicated Things Seem Super Simple. And I focus on helping former corporate professionals figure out how to win this game of business ownership, because it's really overwhelming and can be really frustrating. There's too much information, too many different places to go. And really what we need is just a roadmap, a set of systems and processes, and a way to get there, because it's not just about creating a business, it's about our life, because most corporate professionals are moving on to business as a way of their lifestyle. So their lifestyle, their families, their homes, their future is at stake if they fail.
Ooh, ooh, good stuff. Ooh, good stuff. Well, good morning. These are most of our speakers for our very first Connect Summit that is happening next week. And of course, the financial and systems. So we brought in all of the experts, and yeah, we're super excited because this year, I think that this year is absolutely poised for absolute success, right? We have stacked the deck in our favor, moving away from the way things used to be. So let's talk a little bit, like, what are you doing differently now? Like, what do you see is going to happen differently in business in 21 than we were doing before? And I'll just open it up, and like, you can just raise your hand if you're like, oh, I've got something I want to add. Go ahead, Albert.
I think people are going to have to learn how to connect differently. You know, we've been doing email stuff since the Stone Ages, since the faxes. So when everybody was closed, when 95% were closed because COVID was here, we weren't closed. We actually did better than ever and connected more. So I think the key word is like what you say is connect, connect, connect. Connect is ching, ching. Connect equals ching, ching and bling, bling.
I love it. Aundrea.
I agree with Albert in terms of connecting. And I think what happened with the 2020 changes, et cetera, in 2021, it's kind of almost a back to basics and simplifying and getting real focused. I think we had the opportunity before to be real scattered, real distracted at 100 different places. And I think in 2021, it's about kind of simplifying, getting back to basics and getting real focused and just taking specific focus steps.
What do you think? What was some of those things that you went back to the basics on?
So I went back to basics instead of being real scattered and here's all the things we do and all the different clients we can serve, to who are the one clients that we want to serve, and then how is the one way we want to do that. Because now we're balancing homeschool, online school, business, like we don't get the drive time to go, decompress and stuff. And so you have to make the most of your time. So being productive means cutting out clutter, cutting out excessive things that don't really matter, and really only focusing on the important key things that matter, and saying no to a lot of things and really only focusing on the right things.
It's so funny you're talking about clutter. We just moved into a new home and had unpacked, several boxes, moved everything into the kitchen. And then yesterday we found 3 more boxes of things that go in the kitchen. And I was like, oh, but I already filled my cabinets, like it already was. And so I'm like, yeah, right. I definitely have way too much. But in business, the same thing. We can take on way too many things. There's always something new and shiny that we feel like we need to be participating on that takes us off track. That's good. I know, Melanie, you had your hand raised, and then I'll get to you, Wendy, and then we'll circle back to Shena Marie.
Yeah, just building on what everyone's already saying, I think that given that we're digital and we're not moving around as much or getting as much stimulus outside of our location, that people have low attention spans at the moment. And I think the way we're moving in the future is to create products and services that we can rapidly stand up. So something that we can, from invention to rollout, is a very short time frame. Like, how can we do that in an expedited way? Because people just don't have the attention span or the desire to spend long amounts of time curating things. So I think there'll be way more automation, way more templatizing, and then just adding your personal touch to that template.
All right, Wendy.
There are a couple of things. One, from my experience, is that people are making healthcare insurance a priority, which they should have done a long time ago. They'll protect their phones, houses, cars, but didn't think about their health or life. So that's becoming a priority for folks with the pandemic, and also understanding that you need multiple streams of income, because if you rely only on your job or business, and that goes under or is halted or cut like it's been, then you find yourself really struggling. But you also have to know how to take control of your finances, because you've got sources of income that you haven't identified because you were so, dependent on that paycheck or whatever. So, just understanding that you have to take control of your finances and be more disciplined and planning where your money goes instead of wondering where it went. And get that healthcare insurance. Open enrollment's going on now.
Yeah, Jay and I, we were looking at the credit card statement this morning, and I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't add up. He's like, oh yeah, Angel, when you add it all up, it really does. I'm like, yeah, we've been having, of course, everything new, and like, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that big a deal. And then you see the whole total later on, and wonder, where did it go? I'd had all this money. I still have checks. I should still have money left, right? Do you remember that old saying? All right, Shena Marie, what's different this year for you and your clients, and how do you see it changing?
Yeah, I mean, kind of piggybacking on what Wendy said, I think that it's made everybody realize, before the pandemic, we were in this really awesome economy. And so everyone just like the money was flowing, and then overnight, it just ended for a lot of businesses. And so I think people are realizing now more than ever, that whole like have a backup plan, have bank accounts that have money in them is not just for your house, having an emergency fund. You should have an emergency fund for your business too. And because before the pandemic, over 83% of businesses or small businesses lived check to check. So, they talk about people living paycheck to paycheck. Well, business owners do the same thing. So putting those processes in place so that, if the worst happens, you don't have to feel that check to check struggle. So really going forward in a different way.
Having an emergency fund for your business. Like, I don't think I've ever heard it phrased like quite like that. Like, you need to for home, but yeah, having one for your business. And I know for a while there has been, it's an epidemic of small business owners not taking a paycheck for themselves. And I saw an ad not too long ago, which I thought was pretty cool. You know how the Facebook ads are so super targeted. But I got a Facebook ad that said, "Are you stuck at your seven-figure, at the seven-figure mark?" I'm like, "Oh, look at me! I'm getting ads for being stuck at a seven-figure." I'm like, they're targeting me. I'm like, this is good juju. And people were saying, "Yeah, it's stuck. Like, that's a problem." And they're saying that most are paying out their employees and staff, but not even themselves making money, even at a seven-figure space. And Shena Marie, I know you've built a couple of large businesses. And so give us just a little, just one nice little tip that you're going to share on the summit, or a little sneak preview, a little sample of what you might be bringing to the Connect Summit next week.
Well, I'm going to teach people how to make sure they pay themselves first.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
No matter if you're making $50 or $5 million, you should pay yourself first, because you are your own best employee. So why are you paying yourself the worst? You would never ask that of an employee. So why are you doing that to yourself?
Oh, she's like hard hitting. You're like, oh.
Shena, I have to agree with you, because I have had several clients that came through wanting to work on mindset issues or confidence issues, and they weren't paying themselves. They were paying all their business expenses, even contractors or subcontractors and other people, and not drawing their own income.
So it's literally an epidemic of small businesses. And, you think to yourself, oh, I'm just putting in the time and putting the passion, but when you start there, then you grow there. So when you get to that seven-figure space, you end up
it's already in there. Yeah, you can't start.
You're not putting no money in your pocket. you start to get discouraged and say, oh, do I really need this? I saw that so many times. I do people's returns that they paid everything else out and now they're closing because, oh, I have no money for me. Well,
Do you see that a lot on the tax returns, Albert?
I see that every day.
Every day.
Every day I see this, and we do I mean, what makes me different, whoever's watching, I mean, we're a large scale. I mean, I'm just one office, but we do major volume. So I can do whole studies and surveys on small business because that's all we do. We're 0 to 7. So it's all we do all day is small people, and you hear it all day. Oh, I have no money. Well, maybe if you get out and pushed a little bit, you might get somewhere, but that's another story for another day.
But I think, Albert, doesn't that also sometimes, do you find that it comes back to kind of the basics, like overhead and things like that, and getting clarity and kind of going back to the basics of
and it's also called
being a profitable business.
Right. And it's also called, oh, I'm sorry if you're watching this, but it's also called, it's like the beginning of pandemic and you buy a Beamer 8 and you might be going into rougher patches, or you take out all this COVID money and you buy a $4 million house. Don't complain when shit hits. Oh, sorry.
I didn't buy a $4 million house.
No, but I had somebody who did.
Okay, Albert, you're just talking about like bad business decisions now.
No. But that's but that's where some of these people are.
Yeah, they have no right to complain. But I know a lot of people who are trying their best, but they just can't seem to get ahead. And so, $4 million houses and BMWs aside, helping the people who, maybe they're scaling and they're like, why am I scaling and making less? And a lot of times it's, everyone looks at the top number on their P&L and the bottom number, but it's those numbers in between that really make the difference.
Well, Shena Marie, I had a friend who, he made like $250,000 one year in his business. And he's like, but at the end of the year, he himself, right, was, because he was spending all on growing the business, on staff, on like all the different things that he was investing in. They were business, but you're right. It's same with our savings, right? Mm-hmm. Wendy, this is a lot what you talk about buying insurance and putting money aside and making sure that we kind of cover our house first, which is why when we talk about the Connect Summit, having this financial and systems series right at the very beginning, to have you guys come on and just to put some foundations in place, because as you grow, as you scale, if we don't have this foundation financially or the systems in place, the whole thing kind of unravel. I mean, you'll make a ton of money, but if you're not taking care of your family, then
you have to plan where your money goes, just like you plan, payroll for employees. Consider yourself an employee. You have to have that mindset, and it doesn't have to be one mindset. Like with taxes, you're not going to have the same strategy for your tax situation than you're going to have for your business situation. You have to turn on this side to say, okay, 6 figures, 7 figures, people look at that and think, okay, I'm doing it, but is it profitable? You can have a 7-figure business and spending 7 figures plus 1. Right. So you're not profitable. And even if you are, if you want to make 100,000, put that in, pay yourself, make yourself a W-2 employee where you're paying, getting a paycheck just like the regular employee. So when you go for your taxes, it's going to be based on that W-2, and it's going to factor in your business profits. But, if you have to lower your profits, you still got your, your wages that you made, yeah. You have to plan where your money goes instead of wondering where it went. And you have to have the systems in place for the oversight and catch it before it gets to a point where you're broke. The systems are kind of telling you, okay, you're heading in that direction, so turn around. So it's all about, the foresights that my mentor used to tell me. She said, you got your hindsight, which is 2020, and you want to take that 2020 vision and look at the decisions you've made and the actions you've taken. And if you've made a good decision, it worked out well, continue on. But if you did something that didn't work out so well, realize it. And like I said, if you have to have a pity party, have one, but don't stay there. And then you want to have your insight where you reflect on what that hindsight has taught you. And then you have foresight to move forward, and you have the oversight, which are your systems, your checks and balances to keep that in place and alert you when something's going in the wrong direction. So, you got to look at the big picture. You can't just look at one thing, the bottom line or the top line. Like Shena said, you got to look at it in between and what you need to do to make those numbers work.
Angel, I just want to add to that you need to separate your own goals, your personal goals, from your business's goals, right? So we all, do our goals, and then when we go into business, we create business goals and forget about ourselves. So, your personal goal might be, I want to make $100,000 this year, and your business goal might be, I want to make $1 million this year. But you need to separate the two and work on the two separate sets of goals independently, because you are not your business and your business is not you. Because when you sell your business at the end of the day, you're not selling you with it, so you got to have goals as well as your business.
I know that's a lot what you set people up with, Aundrea, right? Is having that vision and the path of, okay, they're separate, but they're the same but different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things with my clients that we do is we do like a life plan and a life vision. And then how does your business play into that? Because if your whole life is, oh, bye, Albert.
Clients in my office, so
give your call to action. Tell people how to follow you.
Oh, okay. You can follow me. It's very simple. If you want a free consultation, go to 1040w2.com. There's a cool pop-up and you get free consultation. If you want my 3 top business tips to put money in your pocket almost instantly, text Taxman to 26786. That's Taxman 26786. Free business consultation at 1040w2.com.
Albert, thanks for being here. We'll see you next week on the summit.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Albert.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aundrea, didn't mean to.
No worries. No, we wanted to give Albert his moment before he left. So that is very true, Melanie. And I think that what happens is a lot of times is, as business owners and even in career, right, especially high performing corporate professionals, we get very attached and identified with the success that's there, and it becomes part of our identity. So when we make this shift into business, and if we're not meeting those goals in business, we just it takes a toll on confidence and self-esteem, et cetera. And business success is not a reflection of your value, your worth, right? And so it's a project. Owning a business is about a big project and looking at all of the moving pieces of the project. And so, yeah, I agree, Melanie. It's one of those things, have your business goals, but also have a reason for why, because what's the point? Right? The business, if you want to make $100,000, you want your business to, why? What is your life going to do with all of that? Right? So there has to be some purpose and meaning there, not just survival for everyone.
And said, I think that we become so attached to it, Aundrea, like it is personal, it is me. But how many times have people tried different things and you're tweaking it until you land on that right, I don't know, that perfect fit, that right fit for you and your business. You can close a business and sell it. Doesn't at all identify your worth, but we do tend to take that on, right? Like, oh, yeah. I'm a failure. I'm the thing that didn't work, right?
Right. Yeah. And a lot of times it's not, well, and maybe it is, but it was because lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, lack of testing, trial system, right? It was just, I don't know about you, but when I went to school for my profession, I didn't learn how to run a business. I learned how to be smart in my profession, right? And suddenly when my profession wasn't fulfilling anymore and I decided, I want to try this business thing, it was real overwhelming and frustrating. I felt like I was failing at everything, every step of the way, right? And I don't have 20 years to get it right like I did in my first career and profession, right? I had time, I had growth. Now time is actually working against us if we're doing this, right? If business is a second or third career, time's not on our side. Go ahead. No,
I'm sorry, when you find that all the successful people have failed a number of times, so failure is not, it's not a block, it's a stepping stone. Like I said, you find out, okay, what didn't work there. And it's also means that you're not doing what you're supposed to do or what you're called to do. Not saying that you have, because I didn't understand that. I didn't even know about business when I got into business, but it was my calling, and I was paying attention and learned the hard way. I learned a lot from the school of hard knocks, but still the satisfaction you get lets you know that you're heading in the right direction, even though if the money isn't there at the time, the money will come. So you have to have the right motives, I guess. Not saying that wanting a business to be successful and making a lot of money is not a good motive, but you have to have the motive of, is this what I'm called to do? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And I'm 63 years old and I've been in business for 37 years, but I'm doing something that I never even thought about doing, speaking, writing books. That wasn't what I signed up for, but that was my calling. And that's why it's working for me. And it's only been, a year and a half, and it's been successful. The other businesses are successful. I'm not going to take away from that, but this new venture is something that God called me to do after my breast cancer situation. And I was like, okay, I'm in my comfort zone. I'm cool. I don't have to do anything else. Money's good, business is working. But now I'm doing something I'm really beginning to love. And, I'm not making a lot of money just yet, but it's not about the money right now. It's about getting the foundation, doing the crusade I'm called out to do, and the money will flow. And I know that just from my other businesses. Initially the money wasn't there, but then, I'm at 6-7 figures and I'm like, okay, this is pretty nice, so it's, you have to look at failure as a stepping stone, and it's not really failure. It's only failure. And these are only mistakes if you don't learn from them. If you learn from them, it's a lesson. If you don't learn from them, it is a failure, and it's, it's a mistake.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people want to go into business instead of grow into business. And the thing is, it's a lot better to figure out everything when it's here, right? When it's small, versus trying to make it this big and then trying to figure out everything. And then you're totally stressed and you don't know what you're doing. You're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Then you have a lot more writing on the line. So it's so much better to just grow into business.
Yeah.
Build it versus everybody just has this idea like, oh, I'm a business owner, I'm instantly going to be successful. And it's like, well, what's your definition of success?
Yeah. Shena, do you find one of the things that I find, and I went through this and I remember, is that, right, I want to get through the launch phase as quick as possible so I can get to grow, thinking that launch was once I finished my website and I established my start, right? And then, okay, I've launched, now it's time to grow, right? Do you find that? And I agree with you, right? This launch phase can take a few years of iteration and shift and change, et cetera, because you do want to do that trial, the test, the learn, the et cetera, make any tweaks, adjustments while it's simple and small before you're flying, right? The Boeing 747, you're trying to change the
engine. Like, I don't know what I'm doing in the movie. It's not a book. You can't just read it.
Right. You can't just bank a 747 like this, a Cessna. You can, right? You can make those shift and changes. But yeah,
that's why they make you fly the little plane first.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So if you kill people, it's just you.
Actually, if you can't take off, you don't even get off the ground, right? You're just bouncing,
yeah. We're just bouncing our little businesses along until we can.
It's funny. So I do use the example of an airplane for people in terms of understanding all the pieces and parts of business. And yes, do the small airplane first, right? Do all these little things that you can do first before you get too big. And the cost of falling out of the sky is real big and heavy.
I like that analogy with the airplane, but makes my point of having a co-pilot, a coach or somebody, a mentor that's going to kind of take the wheel and guide it if you're going in the wrong direction. If you're heading down, to crash, they can help pull it up and get you back on track. So it is important to have a coach or a mentor or someone that can help you identify, they're not going to tell you exactly everything to do, but they'll give you some food for thought that'll make you think in the direction you need to go.
Right, because they've walked it before you, right? In many cases, they've seen what's down at the end of that runway, right? They've seen what's over the other, the hill over the other side, and can give you guidance. And you definitely need. The thing is you don't have to do this by yourself. There are so many resources, and I mean, just even right here on this panel today, think about the wealth of knowledge and wisdom and experience that is just being poured into our audience today because of all the things that you've experienced. You don't have to do this by yourself. And I think as entrepreneurs, we often feel that because we're a solopreneur or a small business, that we have to figure it out all on our own. And so when you think about some of the tool, like early on, like what were some of the tools or books or seminars or like coaching that really like brought you into going, okay, I can do this. I'm going to make this work. I can absolutely figure this out.
Well, for me, I got a mentor from the SCORE program, the SBA Service Corps of Retired Executives. And they got me connected with a gentleman that had an office supply company. I had an office equipment company, which was a little different, but the business principles were the same. And he was a sharp old guy. Matter of fact, he even came to my wedding because he was just like a father to me. And, he used to tell me different things like, call up your competitor and act like you're, interested in their services and products and see what they're talking about. See what kind of strategy they use to get their clients. And this was back when there was no internet, no social media. It was all, telephone, face to face. And I did that and I learned a lot. He ended up telling me to joint venture with, we were a Canon dealership. So we sold Canon copiers, but because we were small and new, we only could sell a certain level of copier. But, like I said, I had Fortune 500 companies that were my clients. So I needed the big machines. So he said, look, we're going to get with Canon. They're going to hook you up with a dealer that has those big machines, and you're going to do joint ventures. And that was back before JV partnerships and all that was popular. So next thing I know, I'm selling, $100,000 copiers to Fortune 500 companies via a joint
with
venture.
a JV, like early on before JV was cool. Do you guys remember like Yellow Pages and calling your competition and seeing what they were doing, how they answered questions and pricing? Like I don't know, 20 years ago, I used to I mean, like that's what you did.
Not from a business perspective in terms of being in business, but navigating life. Yes, some of us lived before the internet and had to do life before the internet, the hard and old-fashioned way.
And to do research with the little cards.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
there was no Google. What was wrong?
That's the basics. You can add without a calculator back then. You can count change, know how much change you were supposed to get back when you gave the cashier some money. And now, we get so dependent, we don't even know our own phone numbers because you just push one button, and that's it.
True.
So it really helped us lay a foundation to be able, and see Melanie, she doesn't know anything about that.
Yes, she does. She's a tech girl.
Not only tech, but I'm much older than you think I am.
I know. You guys are talking about Yellow Pages. I was like,
we are. Yeah. We grew up in the age of paper, right?
When the Yellow Pages was this thick.
Yeah.
And now one showed up on my doorstep like a couple months ago, and I think it was like this thick. And I'm like, they're still delivering that cute little thing. I remember that.
I haven't seen one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one in years.
I think, Wendy, I think you tapped on something, right? Sometimes it's not the book or the sort, it's kind of somebody else's wisdom that comes along at a time. I remember for me, so I literally I thought I was in catastrophic failure. I'm not, because I'm still here, but it felt like catastrophic failure at the time. I had spent all my money, all my everything, and I was broke. Like I was dead broke. And I had invested in, I didn't, I just did what everybody else was doing, get a coach. So I went out and I hired the wrong coaches because nobody said hire this type of coach for where you are, right? Nobody said when you're 0 to 1 year, go through these steps first. And so I had invested in all the grow things, and was just frustrated. And actually I did fail at them at first, because I wasn't ready for them. I needed the foundation and I needed the launch ones. And it was awesome because actually I was in a networking group at an event, and the speaker came, and it was Sandra Yancey. She runs eWomen Network. And she had come, and the most valuable thing I heard from her was in this one presentation she did. And she talked about the 3 phases of business, and that you can't skip them. And some of the key things you have to learn. And she talked about launch, growth, and then leverage. And she talked about the things, right? And I realized in that moment that all of the people that had sold me their coaching programs were all grow and leverage people. Nobody helped me launch. And that I needed to know how to build a service, do a sales process, and do a marketing campaign. And just those 3 pieces to launch. And I was like, well, why didn't somebody tell me before I was, $70,000 in the hole and like on the verge of not feeding my family for, for the, right, that kind of thing. And so I did. I went and found I was very intentional about the next coach and said, do you help people who are new? And, do you help people who understand the transition from corporate to business, et cetera? And so when I found this next coach and we focused on the sales message, et cetera, and suddenly people started showing up to pay, and it's like, oh my God, I actually can do this. Like, I know I can do this. Right. And then so it's sometimes those people show up along the journey. So if you don't stop, if you don't quit, you're not failing, you're learning. And
you're learning. Yeah. There's only one way to truly fail, and that is to quit, to give up, because everything else is a learning. Well, and kudos to you, Aundrea, because, a lot of times we think, okay, it's not working, so therefore it doesn't work. I can't work it. Like, we just jump the gun to say it won't work. But there's always a way. I think, was it Marie Forleo? It's all figure outable, right? There's a way to solve this. There's a way to figure it out. And if we just haven't found it yet. That's such a great word, I think, for business is yet. And, Wendy, you're like, we haven't hit profit yet. We haven't figured out, the messaging yet. I haven't determined this yet. I think that's such a powerful word that gives us hope, right? Encouragement. There's still an answer. There's still possibility. There's still possibility on the other side.
And understand that that's part of the process. People like Shena Marie said, that, people say, okay, I'm gonna start this business, I'm gonna make all this money and the sky's the limit. But, the process is you start the business, but you have to start from the foundation. And I find with my clients, especially my business development clients, get that formal structure. They got their personal money and business money mixed into one. Like, can't do it that way. So it's just basic stuff. And what, I guess back in the day, we didn't have coaches. You had a mentor, which didn't charge you, or, you used a service like the SCORE program, which was free, because back then they were considered consultants, and people looked at consultants as unemployed business executive, and if they wanted to charge, that was like like the A on them, because, it wasn't a thing. So there were a lot of, organizations that provided those services and resources that you didn't pay for when you're starting out. And then as you grow and your business grows and your finances grow, then you look for the professional consultant, So now everybody's a coach, everybody wants your money, but, you don't always need to spend your money early on. Get a mentor, somebody that's just going to kind of hold your hand, that's not going to charge you, but they're going to feed you with the wisdom that you need to know. And then, when you get to a point where you can afford a coach, hey, a coach, I love coach. Angel's my coach. I wouldn't live without her. Melanie is my coach. I am excited about it, but I'm at a point where I can afford it. And, you know, I see the value in it. You know, when you're new, you think that coach is going to make it happen for you, but that's not the case. You know, even if you get a good coach, you still have to do your thing. You still have to lay that foundation and understand the process and be willing to go through the process. So, you know.
Yeah, and I think going to what Aundrea said, making sure you have the right coach for what you need. Because I'm sure those coaches she had that didn't work, they were probably fantastic. They just weren't for this phase in which she was in. So, I mean, like one of my businesses, we did our first year, we did 75 grand the entire year, right? And I was like, yeah. And now we do more than that in a month. And if we did that, you know, if we do less than that in a month, it's a bad month. So, you know, you have to get those things going first, and you really have to go through those phases. And everybody wants to be at that leverage because it sounds sexy, but if you just jump there, you will have no idea what you're doing, and you'll just feel crazy, and it'll just
Agree.
Melanie, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I just want to add, like, the time for planning and reflecting is not in crisis, right? You do that before you get to crisis. And so what I find a lot of times is that entrepreneurs, they do the jig-jag move, like they're working on something, and then they're working on something else, and then they're working on something else, because they're planning in crisis. They're reacting rather than responding, or they're reacting rather than having a plan in the first place. So many times people are hiring a coach because they're reacting to the situation that they're in, and then they end up with the wrong coach because they're putting a band-aid on a problem rather than getting at the core issue, which is that they're in the wrong phase. You know. And so, you know, doesn't matter systems, it doesn't matter, any of that stuff does not matter until you have a vision and a plan, and then you need to execute off of that plan, and, you know, stop being the squirrel that's just reacting to all these fires that are happening all over the place.
Yep.
I love that. Not reacting in crisis. I mean, you know, we are like, we panic and we freak out, and we of course you're not going to make great decisions in that space. Well, these are some of our speakers on our very first Connect Virtual Summit that is happening next week, February 24th from 2 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I know Tina's putting the link for the event. Complimentary tickets are available. So you guys can come and join us. But each month we've got a whole series. We have an entire team, an entire speaker team focused on staying in their lane. And the very first one is, of course, our financial and systems series. And these folks are going to lay down some pretty juicy, awesome advice, expert advice, wisdom, tips, encouragement, very interactive and very engaging. But you guys don't get them in full force until next week. But so today we want to make sure you guys can follow them, connect with them. So we'll just go around. How do you want them to connect with you? What do you want them to plug into in the meantime? Yeah, how do we follow you on social and all of that fun stuff? Shena Marie, we'll start with you.
So I am Shena Marie, Your Pocket CFO. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Your Pocket CFO. And then you can get my free training at yourpocketcfo.com. I had to make it hard, so.
Your Pocket CFO, right? Matchy, matchy. I love it. I love it. Your Pocket CFO, right? Pay yourself first. There's an epidemic of business owners who are not taking a paycheck. And I love Shena Marie. I remember my first year in business, we made like $30,000, right? Which we knew sucked, right? Like you at least, you know, made a decent income. We know ours sucked. But I remember, you know, when we made it in a month, and then I remember when we made that in a week, and I remember when we made that in a day, right? Like you get there. And but you've got to stay at it, and you've got to pay yourself. Otherwise, your family's going to get frustrated. Like if your family's not on board, it's because you're taking all the time away from them, and you're not bringing anything. And of course, they're going to be frustrated. And so this is a great way to at least keep the family happy too, right? Wendy, you next.
Okay. I am the financial healer. My company's the Financial Cures, and you can join my Facebook group, the Financial Cures. Follow me on Facebook at Dr. Wendy Labat. Instagram, dr.wendy.labat. And then I'm offering a free guide because my presentation is going to be about the 6 obstacles to winning the money game. So you can download that guide by texting the word guide, GUIDE, to 770-796-4944. That's 770-796-4944. I'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week. I love Wendy's story. It is so inspiring, right? We work so hard for our money and to create a lifestyle, and yet we're not planning ahead for how to protect that, how to grow it. And she's also, I just have to tell you guys, she's the queen of found money. I mean, if there is like money to be found, whether it's with grants, loyalty membership cards, you know, the PPP, the PPP,
Yeah.
like this woman she is like the queen of found money, and she's got a great Facebook group to help you find money. Like it's just, and it's like you just start opening, like, look, there's just money, and there's just money. Like she absolutely is like,
It's doing what you do every day. You're not doing anything special or anything extra. It's just a different strategy, a different mindset.
I love it. I love it. Aundrea.
Finding the mute button. That's the key to winning in 2021 is find the mute button. Right? So you can follow me. I'm most active on Facebook and LinkedIn. That's where I hang out. So you can find me at Aundrea DeLeon on Facebook and LinkedIn. And if you go to AundreaDeLeon.com, I actually have a quick business assessment so you know exactly where to focus in your business right now.
Awesome. Well, I love your stories, Aundrea. You make it so relatable, help people to realize like it isn't a straight path, right? There's some ups and downs, and that's okay, right?
Yeah.
The journey isn't necessarily from A to B. There's a lot of fun stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff in between, but simplifying that and what to invest in and what to take action on next. I think so many people that is like their number one question is, what do I do next? And you bring that to the table.
Thanks, Angel. I appreciate that.
Miss Melanie.
I'll make it really easy for you. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or the web at Melanie McSally.
Melanie McSally. You guys are also matchy. Okay. All right. So now just last words, like final words of wisdom or tip or advice that you want to make sure that you share with our audience today that we leave them with. And Melanie, I'll just kind of go backwards. I'll go Melanie, Aundrea, Wendy, Shena, Marie.
I would say automate to elevate. So you can automate it if you can repeat it. And that means that there is about 80% of your business that you can automate and stop doing manually, so that, while you're not working on your business is working on your business.
I think that my question, and probably all of her clients ask her, I can automate that? I can, right? Like all the things that we think we have to do or hire people to do, right? Like that, she's like, well, that could be automated and that could be automated. You can? I had no idea. Melanie, I am not a tech person. I accidentally canceled my whole, I don't know, something that runs my CRM mail in the background last month, because I kept getting this little bill and I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Wendy says cancel stuff, like if you're not using it, cancel it. So I canceled it. And then I realized my CRM isn't working. None of the emails are going out. And she's like, well, you canceled this. She's like, it doesn't work. And I'm like, I have no idea what that is. I look at my emails like, yep, I canceled it. So I'm taking everybody's advice, but I've got to pay attention to the good stuff. So we got it back up and running yesterday, but I thought you might appreciate my little blunder. But yeah, repeat it on it. If you repeat it, you can automate it. And I love the stuff that Melanie's going to be teaching us next week, just to buy your time back, right? You can't, if you're going to run a 7-figure business, I say, this is my own little thing, automate, delegate, and exposure rate. Right? Exposure rate's my made up word, but those pieces, right? You need visibility and then as much automation and delegation so that you can stay in that space. Melanie, I'm really looking forward to having you on the summit next week. Aundrea, how about you?
So my nugget for today is do not choose to be confused. So confusion creates frustration. Clarity creates cash. And Sheena already told us cash is king. So clarity is awesome. So if you're running around in circles, not knowing what to do, stop running, stand still, and assess.
Oh my gosh, there's peace in that. Like, could you just like breathe that in? Like,
Yeah.
just, yeah, stand still. I got an email from somebody this morning. She kind of said that, like, she took an assessment and she said, when I stopped, I now know, and things are coming to me. And you said this too, things are showing up the way they're supposed to be showing up. I'm easier to find when I'm not frazzled, right? I'm easier to hear the messages when I'm not frazzled and running around. That was
yeah. If you've lost your keys, stop looking for them. Because they're already waiting to be found. You're just running around in your crazy chicken brain trying to find them. And if you just stop and breathe and go, okay, where might they be? That literally your brain will find them for you. So
Aundrea, that's so funny. I have a girlfriend who is traveling right now, and she's in she lives in a warm place, but she's traveling in a cold place. And she said she had 3 jackets on. And when she got back to her hotel, she couldn't find the key. And so she went back to the people she was visiting, and it's snowing and it's like all of this, and they can't find it there. And she's unbundling, and it was in the pocket in the inside jacket that she had on. But like, she just, like, that's so funny. She's just telling me this story yesterday.
Yeah. I'm like, so yeah, if you're confused, even if it's complicated, then simplify. Like the answer is in the most simplest, easiest answer is the yes answer. And just, life's already complicated. We already want to complicate it. No, simplify, clarify, progress.
Oh my gosh. Are you guys getting so excited for the summit next week? I mean, these are just little samples, little previews of what they are going to be bringing. And we have a full day, well, 2 to 7. I mean, we have 5 hours of it, almost a full day, half a day of really good stuff. This is going to be, I'm really looking forward, Aundrea, to your presentation. Wendy.
I've got a couple of things. I always start with Robert Kiyosaki's quote, "It's not how much money you make, but how much money you keep, how hard your money works for you, and how many generations you keep it for." So that's a factor. That's like the ultimate way of life. But I was on a podcast the other day, and I just coined this little phrase is, if you think right and do right, things will flow right. So you got to have the right mindset, you got to take action, and everything comes together.
Oh, if you think right and you do right, everything will flow right. Okay, make sure you guys bring your pens next week, because we are going to have a workbook for you guys to take notes on, because there's all sorts of great nuggets and wisdom here. Wendy, I'm really looking forward to hearing more from you next week too, right? You guys you're already bringing it. You're already bringing it. Shena Marie, bring us home.
Well, kind of to piggyback on what Dr. Wendy said, your business income, think of it like the turkey on Thanksgiving. It's the big turkey, and you need to cut it up and serve it out. On Thanksgiving, you don't just have everybody like go at the turkey, you serve it out. So you need to do that with your business income to yourself, to your profit, to your taxes, to your expenses. And so just making sure you have those serving dishes, because it seems overwhelming. But once you put those little steps into place and that plan, like Aundrea said, it all comes together and it all flows.
I just love her analogies, right? She's got an analogy for everything, but to slice it up and put it on serving dishes, that's beautiful, right? I can picture that. I can get that. I can wrap my head around that. Like, these are serving dishes for all these different people at the table, right? That I'm serving, but there's also room for me. I'm not surprised by the tax bill at the end of the quarter, right? Or the year, if you're doing it that way. And slice it up and put it on serving dishes. Well, I just want to slice you guys up and put you on my little serving dishes. You guys are fabulous. Well, thank you, ladies. Albert was here earlier. Dan had a migraine, and Tina had some technology issues, but the show must go on, right? The show goes on, and we were able to feature a few of our speakers for the very first Connect Summit of 2021. We have 10 events the last Wednesday of every month. So last Wednesday in February, in March, April, May, all throughout the year. Put it on your calendar from 2 to 7 p.m. Eastern time, whatever time zone you are in. It's a virtual summit. You can join us from wherever you are and pop in free of charge. The tickets are complimentary. You will get all these great tips, advice, nuggets, the law of association, the law of connection, everything that you need to help you launch and grow an even bigger business and to connect, right? Connect with technology, with your finances, with your profit, with your systems. And we start next week. This is our first series, Financial and Systems Summit Series, February 24th from 2 to 7 p.m. Tina's putting the link in the comments below. Grab your complimentary tickets today. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us. I can't wait to see you next week and hear all your good stuff. I'm Angel Tussey. I am your media exposure specialist. You can grab your complimentary media starter kit at my website, makeyourbigimpact.com. That's makeyourbigimpact.com, and grab Tina's complimentary guide, turning connections into clients. Get her blueprint by texting the word gratitude to 26786, the word gratitude to 26786, and grab her book, Beyond Gratitude, by going to beyondgratitudebook.com, still on sale for $5 at Amazon. Of course, the Angel and Tina Morning Show, brought to you every morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, the bright start to your morning. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all for being here. Bye-bye.